Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurureva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Narayana. I was part of a workshop recently entitled Holistic Wellness, and one of the speakers was sharing, what is the third leading cause of death amongst youth? Third leading cause of death amongst our age. Stress. The fulfillment of stress is suicide. The third leading cause of youth is suicide. Every 12 minutes in the United States, someone commits suicide. So if I speak for 1 hour, 5 people in the United States will have committed suicide. That's over 45,000 people a year. I grew up in a small city. That's in 2 years our entire population would be wiped out. Really feel that statistic. Once every 12 minutes, 45,000 people. The third leading cause for us. Why? Why are young people committing suicide? If you think about this in a more ordinary or worldly way, when you don't know how to use something, you eventually give up, correct? It's like if you give a smartphone to maybe one of your parents is not so inclined to using Skype or Zoom, right? And they just give up. Yeah, I don't want to do this. Yes? It could be learning how to shoot a basketball. I can't hold the ball, so I just give up. This is what's happening with living, no? When I don't know why I'm living, how I'm supposed to live, then I give up. When someone doesn't know how to do something, when someone doesn't know how to live, instead of giving up, what is the right strategy? What should you do in that moment with that experience when you don't know? You ask for help, right? If I don't know how to use this gadget, please help me. If I don't know how to get to this destination, you ask for directions. And when we ask for help, live help is the best. Even when you contact an airline or a bank, you keep pressing 0 because you want to talk to someone live. You don't want a recording, correct? And they're smart. That's not a valid option. That's not a valid option. That live experience. And if not live, a second best option would be a frequently asked questions section. That someone had this question, here's your solution, and so on. All of us are most fortunate that when we need help and we ask for it, we do have that live experience in the sense that all around us, including in us, is the presence of divinity, is God. There is a live experience if you can feel it. What is shared in Vrindavan, in different places where Bhagavan Krishna grew up, that even now people can hear his flute. You just have to have that sensitivity, that love to be able to hear. Our son Vyasa, he likes machines. His favorite word is vacuum. He wakes up saying vacuum, not appa, not amma. He wakes up saying vacuum. And blender, lawnmower. And sometimes we're feeding him and he'll just stop and he'll point to the window and say, copter. That he can hear that helicopter. We're so desensitized to it that we hear it, but we don't listen to it. But he listens to it. So that live help is there. And if we can't tune into that live help, then we do have this frequently asked questions in the form of our scriptures. That is the words of the divine, the expression of God. And in this particular experience, this retreat, the theme is the relevance of Ramayana. We're all familiar with the Ramayana TV series that our parents used to watch. They would take one 10-second section of footage and show it 50 times, correct? We all know about Ram Leela, where people dress up and burn Ravana. Is that relevant to your college life? Is that relevant to your professions, to your relationships? You're all going like this. You're supposed to say yes. Ramayana is most relevant. But remember, when you practice a subject, it becomes practical. And if you don't practice a subject, it is impractical. It's up to you to decide if this is practical, if this is relevant. We are not here. Here meaning here, and here meaning being alive, to be sad. I think of SAD as an acronym, and SAD is an acronym for Seasonal Affective Disorder. That's going to be starting now, as we just heard, other than on Sunday morning temporarily where we have 1 more hour to sleep. Seasonal affective disorder is, I see the sun less, so I feel less bright. I think of SAD as stress. Stress devolves into anxiety. Anxiety devolves into depression. And I told you, the fulfillment of stress is suicide. We are not here to be sad. We are not here to be a statistic. Ramayana and Bhagavan Rama, that help has always been there, will always be there. And so during this retreat, start to feel that. Start to ask for help in whatever way that you need help. Ramayana is known as itihasa, or what's the English word for itihasa? History. It is the historical documentation of the ayana of Rama. Ayana means path, where he was born, where he got married, where he lived, where he traveled, how he came back. It is the historical documentation of Rama, who was a king, who was a husband, and on and on and on. I was recently in Iowa City. Which president was born near Iowa City? Come on, Americans. Herbert Hoover. And when I went to the presidential library, that was the ayana of Herbert Hoover, where he was born, where he was raised, where he went to school, where he traveled to. So Ramayana is the historical documentation, okay? What we're more familiar with is the philosophical guidance. the philosophical guidance that is the ayana, not of Rama, but the ayana to Rama. And here Rama means joy. Rama means completeness. Rama means divinity. So historically, it's a path of Rama. Philosophically, it's a path to Rama. And you can absorb this in any way you want, ideally in both ways, historically and philosophically. Now, the section we're going to study, there's a lot to study in Ramayana. We're going to take a portion of it, the portion in your hands. And in actuality, of what's in your hands, we're only going to take half. Because quality is more important than quantity. What's the point of rushing through this? You can also read, correct? But I need to know, how do I make this more relevant? To give you some context before we begin the teachings, Bhagavan Rama and Sri Lakshmana have just helped Sugriva to regain his kingdom. And Bhagavan Rama is so compassionate. Sugriva, for a long time, has been trying to escape from being assassinated. So Bhagavan Rama says, go and enjoy the kingdom. Enjoy the pleasures and the possessions. And right now is Chatur Masa anyways. In Bharat, in India, where this is taking place, Chatur Masa is the rainy season. You know, when you go back to Bharat, to India, and you describe to everyone what December, January, and February, and March, and April, and some of November, what it's like, people are shocked, right? You live where ice falls from the sky and stays on the ground. How do you live? And we feel the same way about the rain, isn't it? The monsoons as an example. But life goes on. In the case of the jungle, life doesn't go on. There are no cars, there are no roads. So for 4 months, nobody moves. Everyone stays where they are. So Bhagavan Rama and Sri Lakshmana are camped in the jungle, not moving anywhere. Eventually, their trajectory is to find Mother Sita, but for 4 months, they're on pause. Okay? Now imagine living with someone, and if you have a sibling, imagine living with a sibling, camping with a sibling in a state park for 4 months. Frightening. Stressful. Right? I have an older and younger sibling. I don't know if I could survive 4 months. But in this case, Bhagavan Rama and Sri Lakshmana, they don't waste any time talking about, imagine what the kingdom is like. How warm it must be, the food they must be eating. Instead, Bhagavan Rama and Sri Lakshmana are discussing life, are discussing living by observing everything they see in the jungle. So in the jungle, they see peacocks, they see rain, they see mountains, and they're learning from all of this. And that's the portion of Ramayana that we're going to study. What did Bhagavan Rama see? That my eyes don't get it, but if I can try to relate to him, maybe I can see what he can see. Maybe I can feel happy like he is happiness. Now, more philosophically, these 4 months, I want you to take that from a macro and shrink it to the micro that is this retreat. Those 4 months are now 40 hours. Those 4 months are a retreat from being busy. All of you are busy. Today was a busy day. You showed up just on time for the retreat. Rushed through eating. On Sunday, as soon as the retreat is done, you have to rush back to the airport, to your school, to work, etc., correct? This is a retreat from being busy. Those who are busy have no time. And if you don't have time, that means you can't think. You can't see what's in front of you, what's inside of you. So treat this retreat as slowing down, not being busy. While you're here, eat slower. Speak slower. It'd be so cool if everyone's doing that, right? And during this retreat from being busy, it is an opportunity to figure out what you're doing. Why are you here? Who are you? Where are you going? To figure out what's going on. People do that in sports, right? The game is chaotic. You call a timeout. On Netflix, you miss something because you were sleeping. Press pause, okay? Rewind. That 10 seconds goes back, correct? So you watch that lyric again. You read it. We are going to figure out through Bhagavan Rama what his vision is, okay? Then we're going to make that more relevant. What is our mission from that vision? And from this mission, what is going to be our action? So for each teaching, we're going to explore the vision, mission, and action. Like a corporation has a vision statement, a mission statement. And for some people, that's still too abstract, so an action statement. This is what you're supposed to do. How many of you grew up or still watch the television show, The Simpsons? There's one episode where Homer and the Simpsons go into witness protection. And so they're trying to teach Homer that he's not a Simpson anymore. He's a Thompson, okay? So the person is sitting with him, squeezing his hand, stomping on his foot, and saying, "Are you Mr. Thompson?" You know, like trying to be very overt with it. And Homer looks to the next person and says, "I think he's talking to you." See, for Homer, a vision and mission, what are you talking about? He needs an action statement. Just tell me what to do. So we are going to study in this way the vision, the mission, the action. One more Simpsons reference. It's the last day of school, and they're scrolling through the classrooms. Lisa's in one class, and Bart's in another class, and Milhouse is in another class. And they're all in their desk, and they're kind of coming out of their desk as the clock keeps ticking towards 3 o'clock. And they're so focused on the clock that it starts ticking backwards. When Bhagavan Rama is teaching Sri Lakshmana, or they're discussing, they're learning so much that they're enjoying so much that those 4 months fly by. A word that I hear a whole lot amongst youth, amongst us. Busy is one swear word that we use a lot. What's another swear word we use that starts with B in English that is sattvic? Bored. That's right. I'm bored. That's a swear word where you're insulting your experience. I'll come back to our son Vyasa. Everything is so interesting to him. Like when I bathe him, so we have this plastic container that's broken, and I lift it up and water falls out of it, and he goes, "Whoa." And he just keeps playing with that useless container that's dropping water, but he's so interested, which makes me so interested in him. But you know, people who always say, I'm bored, they're boring. And here we'll see that Bhagavan Rama is most interested, which is why he's most Interesting. With this beginning, I'm going to use the large text. You all have this in your hand. I'll try to match these up. So if we go to the 10th and 11th pages, if we have the same text, there may be different editions. Again, we're not going to study this whole text, okay? We're going to take parts of it. This is what Bhagavan Rama sees first. Okay? And what does he see? Lachimana deku mora gana nachata barida peki. Which means, hey Lakshmana, look at that peacock. Look at that peacock as it's dancing, as it sees those clouds, as it sees that the rain is going to come. You can all see that too. You've seen a peacock dance before. Fine. So this is what Bhagavan Rama's eyes see. This is what his sight sees. But his vision, he says, this is like grihi virati. Grihi means a householder. Grihi means us. But us, virati, someone who's engaged or someone who likes vairagya or independence. Rata harasha jasa Vishnu bhagata kahu deki. When you and I are trying to be more independent, we're enjoying our own company more, we appreciate silence more, we're not as addicted. When we see someone else like that, when we see someone who loves Bhagavan Vishnu, someone who's devoted to the higher, we dance. Maybe outside, but mostly inside. We're as happy as that peacock is when the peacock sees the rain. Did you catch that sight and vision? I'm going to say it one more time. With Bhagavan Rama's eyes, when he sees these peacocks that are dancing because of the clouds and the rain, his vision is those, they're called householders, seekers. They dance, they feel the same happiness when they meet a bhakta, when they meet someone who loves God and self-development. So this is all shared. This is a vision. Now I told you we'd make this more relative, more relevant by focusing on what is our mission from this vision. If you can pick one virtue, and all of you are smart, what virtue do you think Bhagavan Rama's trying to communicate to Sri Lakshmana, really trying to communicate to us? What's the virtue that we should bring into our lives so that we are that seeker who's happy when she sees someone who loves God? Think, what virtue? Devotion is good. Gratitude is also good. Let's take one more guess. Think hard. Think practically. Now nobody, we don't know how to do that, so we're just going to be quiet. Once, our Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda, he was in Australia and he was leaving immigration. And that immigration officer said, "Have a good time." So he turned back and said, "How?" And that person didn't know what to say. You know, it's just like we say, "How are you?" We don't care in the first place. And even if someone said, this is happening, we'd run away. I just wanted you to just say, "Good, how are you?" When we see people who are feeling stress or anxiety, we're not shaken by them at all, correct? It's when we see happy people, "Hey, what's wrong with you? Why are you happy?" See how normalized stress has become, anxiety has become. The virtue, our mission statement is to be supportive. To be supportive. Often when we see people who are evolved, we feel jealous of them. When we see people who are succeeding, we start to spread rumors about them. In Sanskrit, it's called asuya, which is to find weaknesses in people's strengths. See, the person who loves God, the person who feels close to Bhagavan Vishnu, awesome. They are awesome. And we think, oh, they're phonies. They're losers. They don't have any friends. They only hang out at the mandir or the ashram. But here, what we should be internalizing is to be supportive. When someone has dedicated their life to divinity, when someone is devoted to the community, be supportive. That's called anasuya, where you find strengths in people's strengths. Yes? Do we not have that propensity to find weaknesses in people's strengths? And a great expression of this, it is much easier or natural for us to criticize someone than it is to compliment them. All true? So this simple observation of Bhagavan Rama, the peacock dancing with the clouds, a householder who wants to be more devoted, more independent, when they see such company, they feel so happy. We should be supportive. That's the mission statement. And now I'll give you an action statement too. The action statement is speak positively. Speak positively. If I speak positively, naturally I'm going to be more supportive, isn't it? And if I'm more supportive, I will be like that seeker who finds happiness in other people's happiness. So then what is just my eyes on nature becomes a vision for me. Speak positively. A lot of people in public speak quite harshly, isn't it? I'm referring to specific individuals, but actually you can delete the S on that also. So harsh. It makes you feel bad. It makes you feel sad. And there's other people who speak so in such an uplifting way, like Prime Minister Modi as an example. Always praising people, lifting people up. We can all do much better when it comes to speaking positively. And now think, who do you speak to the most in the most negative way? Yourself, and I see people pointing at themselves, that's true. Outside, who do you speak to most negatively? Your parents, isn't it? Your siblings? That's weird. Why are we so negative towards our parents? We have such high expectations of them, isn't it? Why? Haven't they done enough for us? I think that's a great way to begin this action, is to just speak more positively to our parents. Yes? Okay. We continue. What does Bhagavan Rama see next? Next he sees Ghana Gamanda Nabha Garjata Ghora Priyahina Darapata Mana Mora. Here he makes this so personal. He shares that there's thunder in these fast-moving clouds. And I'm feeling this like my heart beating in my longing for Mother Sita. Priya here is his Priya as Mother Sita. So once again, he's comparing thunder. The first was peacocks, this one is thunder. The thunder is in these fast-moving clouds. And they're making this intense noise, and it's like my heart. When we hear thunder, our heart, it's scared. It beats more quickly. There's that adrenaline. What's going to happen? Fight, flight. He's feeling that with his missing of Mother Sita, his missing of whom he loves. So when Bhagavan Rama is seeing all of this, but his vision is on that missing of those who are priya, those whom he cares for, he loves. What's really lovely about Ramayana is when his father passes away, Bhagavan Rama is sad. When Mother Sita is kidnapped, he's equally sad. And when Sri Lakshmana is fatally wounded, equally sad. And that shows that Bhagavan Rama is not partial to his wife or father or brother, that he loves all of them equally, us also. So I said to feel that within ourselves. In fact, when Ravana is killed, that spark of life goes into Bhagavan Rama's mouth. He absorbs that spark of life from Ravana. Ravana didn't take Bhagavan Rama's name even once until he was dying. His whole life, he never said the word Rama. He called them princes, he called them wanderers, he called them ascetics. And finally, as he's dying, he says, "Where is Rama?" And imagine someone never looks at you in the eye, someone never speaks your name, but still how he absorbed that. So much love. So here Bhagavan Rama's heart is beating like thunder for whom he misses. So this is the vision. What is the mission? How does this become relevant to us? Is to be more caring. To be more caring. Be more supportive, be more caring. Who do you care about the most? Ourselves, no? Also fascinating, we speak most harshly to ourselves, yet we care most about ourselves. We are hardest on ourselves, yet most forgiving on ourselves. We have a really weird relationship. A very passive-aggressive, sadistic, who knows what's going on? To be caring. What are expressions? How do you know if you care for someone or if someone cares for you? What are expressions of care? Nobody knows. Nobody cares for you. You don't care for anyone. What are expressions of care? It's not that complicated. Yes. Emotions you feel, yes. They go out of their comfort zone to help you. Good. Yeah. And not just mechanically, asking how you are, for sure. So many times when we ask someone about them, we really want them to ask that about us, isn't it? So we can talk about ourselves. Someone in the back? Yeah, giving time. Time is so precious for these busy times, isn't it? One of the raws, reflection adventure of the weeks that I've given in one of the classes is, who are the 7 people that you give most of your time to? Each day to analyze who you give your time most to, because that really shows who you work for, which really shows who you're working to become. Isn't it? Whoever you're giving your time to, you're going to become like that. If you give your time to the gym, you're going to be healthy. If you give your time to the kitchen, you're going to eat more. There are lots of expressions of care. One is where you think about them. And a more simplistic English word for that would be to sympathize with someone. To see the world from their perspective, from their shoes. Yes, to be caring. Another play on this word caring is to be careful. When you care fully. When you care fully, that means they're as important as you are. It requires a lot of selflessness. Bhagavan Rama And that's why I pointed out, he was equally sad for all of his family members. I talked about Ravana also, because we shouldn't interpret that he's longing for his wife. That can be easily misinterpreted. He doesn't even take her name. He says Priya here. Priya can be anyone. But we infer that it's Mother Sita. So, be caring. Here is our action statement. The first was speak positively. This is listen attentively. Listen attentively. When someone listens to you attentively, it shows that they're interested in you, right? It shows that they're thinking about you, that they're caring. To listen attentively. Are you good at that or bad at that? Did you say something? I had read recently, we look at our phones 150 times a day. That's a surreal amount. That's literally once every 10 minutes, even while you're sleeping. You sleep 10 minutes, sleep 10 minutes. In England, the study is that people look at their phone 24 hours a week. An entire day goes by looking at this surface area. There's so much surface area you can look at. Why look at this surface area? And for Canada, it's more. And for the US, it's even more. It may be 30 hours. And when I'm looking at my phone so often, what's naturally going to develop in my mind? I'm going to be more distracted, isn't it? So much is happening on your phone, I get distracted, which makes it much harder to listen attentively, which makes it harder to be caring, which makes it harder to feel for people, as someone had shared. He's feeling for those who are not with him. So far, so good. Ramayana is relevant so far. Are you going to follow this? Okay. This one is really relevant to all of us. The third example given. Damini damaka rahana ghana mahim kalakai priti jata tiranahi, which means the way that lightning appears and disappears. Lightning moves fast. People say that person moves as fast as lightning. Correct? Even in the Marvel characters, I think Flash, when he moves as fast as lightning. Or you get what I'm talking about, right? There's that trail of light that's left. So too is the friendship of someone who is kala. Kala means vicious, wicked, mean. People who are vicious, wicked, mean, they come into your life, they appear, and soon enough they disappear, correct? So here Bhagavan Rama, with his sight, he's seeing this lightning. It keeps coming and going, and it's the monsoons, it's the jungle. That's all there is. He's not distracted by anything. He's seeing that. And it keeps moving, just like vicious people. Vicious here means full of vices. Someone who's full of vices, one of those vices would be someone who has a self-interest. So their relationship with you is based on exchange, isn't it? As long as you can give to me, we have a relationship. Once you stop giving to me, no relationship. All of you close your eyes. Now only my eyes are open, okay? And the camera can't see any of you. How many of you would describe some of your relationships with your friends? Let's just stick with your friends. That you have a friendship with someone's based on what they can give to you. By show of hands. Put your hands high so I can see. Okay, hands down, keep your eyes closed. How many of you feel that you have a friend in your life, someone in your life who only is your friend, I'm saying that in quotes, based on what you can give to them? Okay, you can put your hands down. You can open your eyes and judge the person next to you. A vicious person is someone who is dependent. Dependent on, again, what do they get? Now, how do I change this vision into a mission to be independent? To be independent, that you're in a relationship with others not about what you can get, but about what you can give. That's a real relationship. A vicious person is addicted. They're attached. An independent person is not addicted. They're not attached. They don't have that self-interest. So to be independent, and earlier I was sharing that someone who can't enjoy their own company, they're addicted to socializing, isn't it? They're addicted to talking. That's all. What do they get out of it? But someone who's enjoying their own company, they become more independent. They don't have to talk all the time. They don't have to socialize all the time. Virati, the householder, was described like that. A householder, we should be sources of giving, not sources of getting. And how to make this even more relevant for our lives. So far I've given you 2 actions, correct? Without looking at your notes, what are the 2 actions? First one is speak positively. The first word is a verb, correct? Speak. And then I'm describing that verb. What's the second one? Listen attentively. That's also a verb, correct? Third is observe lightly. Observe lightly. Sometimes in our roommates, our school, our workplaces, there'll be people who are addicted, people who are attached, people who are kala. They're mean. What should I do with such people? Just observe them. Just observe them. And I'm saying lightly. Lightly here means don't judge them. Isn't it? If I judge them, who am I thinking about all the time? The person I'm judging. And as you think, so you become. You know why Ravana came to Bhagavan Rama? Because all day and all night, who did Ravana think about? Bhagavan Rama. His was more of a hatred, but he still did think about Bhagavan Rama. So he went there. Those we judge, we think about more. That's why I'm sharing. We should observe that you have to be in such environments, but lightly. Like when you walk, if you walk lightly, your footprints don't go in very deep, correct? Do you all know what a Buddha board is? Buddha board? I've seen this blue canvas, and when you draw or paint on it, you take a paint brush, but you only dip it in water. And you draw something. You draw the jungle. And after some time, what happens to it? That water evaporates. The idea is that everything comes and everything goes. Whether it's a jungle or even an icon of Bhagavan Rama, that will also come and go too. Observe lightly. If there are people who are speaking negatively, hear them, but don't listen to them. If people are distracted, that doesn't mean we have to be distracted. Guruji was sharing when I was with him recently. He was just describing that someone gives an invitation to someone else saying, please come to my party where all of us are going to be ignoring each other. Sometimes you see that in restaurants, correct? Everyone's at that same table, but everyone's ignoring each other. Just because everyone else is on their phone doesn't mean you have to. So there's games, right? You put your phone down in the middle, and whoever looks at their phone first has to pay for the bill. Observe lightly. This is a really, really, really important action, especially with so much negativity in our cities, in the newspaper. If you take that too seriously, you become that same negativity. You become the victim, isn't it? Before you serve in a medical field, you have to get a TB test. You have to wear a mask. You have to be healthy. If you're unhealthy, who are you going to help? You become part of the problem. And we'll study one more site of Bhagavan Rama. He shares. This is all in order so far. He shares. Barasahi jalada bhumi niyare jatha navahi buddha vidya pai. He shares that clouds that are heavy, clouds that are filled with rain, are they very high up or are they very low? Low. It's those cirrus clouds that are very high, correct? They don't contain anything. But it's the cumulonimbus clouds that are very heavy. Those are the thunder clouds that are always lower, that are always bigger. So just like a rain cloud is low to the earth, it's descending, so too wise people bend. Wise people bend with their learning. Bend with their learning. So his eyes are seeing these clouds, but his vision, what he's feeling is, this is how wise people are. Now this is so lovely because we see clouds all the time. When you see clouds, what do you think of? And if anything, we just see shapes. That thing looks like this. That's a dog. That's a popcorn. And so on and so forth, right? So worldly. And the same goes with anything else. Lightning. We think about, whoa, what if it hits a tree? What if I get hit by lightning? Instead of thinking about friendship and wicked people, wicked as in bad, bad as in negative, because now wicked is wicked, bad is bad. We think about that. But so meaningfully, Bhagavan Rama has this vision. The wise are humble with learning. In Vedanta we say, Vidya dadati, what's the last word? Vinaya. Vidya is knowledge, gives humility. I want you to pause, and I want you to think about last year's retreat, or just last year. Think about Thanksgiving last year, or daylight savings time. What's really cool about this retreat is that it's really built around daylight savings time. I don't know how it happened, but it just keeps happening like that. Now I don't even have to pay attention to that. I know, okay, Ann Arbor retreat, daylight savings time. From last year to this year, do you feel that you've become more humble? That you've become more arrogant? Or that you're the same from last year? How many of you feel you're more humble? Arrogant? Same? Both the retreat coordinators had their hand up for arrogant. And the humble people were kind of like this, you know. You know what I found when I ask these kinds of questions? Nobody gives confident answers. It's always the head shake or the weird hand or their hands are down here. Like if someone asks you something, yes or no. So, for those who became more arrogant, what was the point of that year? Even for those who didn't become more humble, what was the point of the year? Literally, what was the point of your year? For those who became more humble, very good. This is the difference between an education and knowledge. Another word for knowledge in Vedanta is jnana. Jnana is that which makes you quieter. That which makes you more inward looking. Education doesn't make you more quieter. It doesn't make you more inward looking. So the universities and colleges that you study at, are you getting an education or are you getting knowledge? Do they encourage go to sleep by 9 p.m.? Wake up at 9 p.m., right? That's when your exam is. So here, once again, it's the wise are humble with learning. So now let's think of which virtue needs to become our mission. Now, without looking at your notes, what's the first virtue we have to make our mission? Virtue. Be supportive. Second is be caring. Third is be independent. If it's not in our notes, what are we supposed to do? We have to remember this stuff? So be supportive, be caring, be independent. Now your fourth is be grateful. Be grateful. Now this is not really directly related to what, Bhagavan Rama's vision is, but it is, if we can internalize this. Those who are grateful, they are naturally more humble, isn't it? That I'm so grateful for my body, it can digest by itself. If someone is grateful for that, they'll never take this body for granted, isn't it? If I'm grateful that there's a microphone here, that I don't have to work so hard to speak, I won't take it for granted. I'll use it properly. Here, wise people are using knowledge. It's not externalized, it's internalized. To be grateful. Quickly, what should we all be grateful for? Food. Done. Specifically, high fructose corn syrup. Opportunities, for sure. To get help. Good health, and to get help, both. Health, right? So health and help, both. Knowledge, a house. Parents. Chairs. For the next 36 hours, on the ground. So much we have to be grateful for. When we're grateful, we bend our heads down more rather than put our chins up more, isn't it? Can you make that connection? Someone who's grateful is, I'll give you an example. I forgot the king's name. I think his name is Rahim. He was known for his generosity, that anyone who came to him, he would give to them. But when he would give, he would put his hand up and look down. And so this was around the age when Tulsidas Ji was present. And he asked him, "You're the king, why do you look down?" And he responded saying that I'm not the giver, but everyone keeps thinking I'm the giver. He's the giver, so I don't deserve that credit, that praise. How grateful he is for that presence of the Creator, or feeling the Creator, that he can't even look at people who are in stature lower than him. To be grateful. And our action statement, accept defeat. Accept defeat. Now you're all thinking about, how did I not remember this? What's that popular computer game again that everyone? Fortnite, yeah? That's why our organizers have become more arrogant, because of Fortnite. They have sports tournaments now where people play sports on video games. Like, instead of an actual ball that's being thrown, I play that with my control, and other people watch and bet on that. Like that, the people win trophies and championships because of that. I feel so old, but I'm glad. I'm glad that I played real sports. and not virtual sports. Here, what I'm sharing is the opposite of defeat would really be debate or to argue. See, that doesn't happen with video games or even a test. It happens with people. And when I accept defeat, this is my action, it helps me to be more grateful for the relationship. When I'm taking someone for granted, I'm right, you're wrong. It becomes a debate, isn't it? With my wife and I, there's so many times that she's right, but she'll say she's wrong or she'll say she's sorry for the sake of our relationship and just more calmness and quietude. Lesser times I am right, but I'll say I'm wrong and say I'm sorry. For again, the sake of the relationship is more important. Who cares who's right or wrong? Right? It's more big picture. Accept defeat. And we have so many examples in our scriptures of, I think it was Guru Nanak, where someone came and said, I want to debate with you. And it could have been Tulsidasji, I don't know. I want to debate with you. And this wise person said, why? And that person said, so I can defeat you. And so that wise person said, I'm defeated. Why go through the debate? That's amazing, right? So grateful for the learning, really, that they become so large-hearted to just accept that defeat. We are all living, and everything that we know how to do, we've learned. You've learned how to drive. You've learned how to put on lipstick. You've learned how to type. That was all learned by someone who knew how to drive. You didn't learn how to drive from someone who didn't know how to drive, correct? You didn't learn typing from your parents. Remember how our parents... You were in a class or you saw something online or just by practice you learned to type really fast. We type like Zakir Hussain plays the tabla, right? It's so fast. But now in a more comprehensive way, living. We're living, but how are we supposed to live? Only the Creator knows, because the Creator is responsible for creation. And with creation came an instruction manual. I have this very inexpensive but very useful Coleman's watch. Inexpensive, as you can see, half of it has come off, but useful. It does what it's supposed to do. There is an instruction manual that came with this. Don't pull too hard. My Contigo water bottle also came with an instruction manual. Don't microwave this. And Coleman's made this instruction manual, and Contigo made this instruction manual, and Timbuktu made this instruction manual. With a living, the Creator has given us a user's manual in the form of Ramayana. Our eyes are always seeing icons, people, cameras. But what are we supposed to do with this? Sight should actually feel like vision. Vision is where I'm learning. Vision is where I'm growing. And here Bhagavan Rama is giving us examples that his eyes see peacocks. What was the second sight of his? Thunder. Even though you can't see it, but that's correct. Thunder. The third was lightning. And the fourth is clouds. So remember, peacocks, thunder, lightning, clouds. That's what his sight is. But his vision is very different. And we want to reach that vision, but we have to start with our, lower than that is our mission. First mission is be supportive, be caring, be independent, be grateful. But that may be too high also, so I start with my actions. To speak, to listen, to observe, to accept, defeat. then this will become our history. Right now, many of us may not have faith in this. This is like Lord of the Rings, like Harry Potter. Once you start to act on this, this will become your history. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.